David had never believed in superstitions. The number 13, broken mirrors, black cats, all of it seemed silly superstitions to him. He considered himself a practical man and didn't pay attention to such things. But that day, when he drove into a small hotel on the outskirts of the city, an inexplicable uneasiness arose in his chest. "Your key, sir," the receptionist, an elderly woman with deep wrinkles, handed him a metal key with a dark, worn keychain. David glanced at the number engraved on the metal. 13. He raised his eyebrows. "Really?" he chuckled, tossing the key in his palms. "Hotels usually avoid rooms 13. The woman didn't answer. She stood too still, her eyes fixed on his face. Her expression remained blank. David felt something unpleasant stir inside him. "If you want, I can change it," she finally said, but her voice sounded muffled, as if she was speaking in a tone that was not her natural tone. He forced himself to smile. "It's okay. It's just a room. It's just a number." But when he went up to the second floor and found the right door, it seemed to him that the key in his hand had become strangely warm. The door was slightly darker than the others, with peeling paint and scratches near the handle, as if someone had been trying to open it for a long time. Or get out. David shook his head, driving away absurd thoughts, inserted the key into the lock and turned. Behind the door was an ordinary room. A bed, a nightstand, a closet, a window with thick curtains. But for some reason, when he entered, he couldn't shake the feeling that someone was already here. David couldn't fall asleep for a long time. The room seemed normal, but there was something wrong about it. The air was heavy and stuffy, despite the open window. Raindrops tapped softly on the glass. The wind rustled behind the curtains, but inside there was a tense silence. He tossed and turned, trying to find a comfortable position, but sleep would not come. And then it started. First, a barely audible creaking, as if someone was carefully moving a chair across the floor. David sat up abruptly in bed. The room was empty. The chair was not where it had been. It had been moved closer to the bed. David frowned, peering into the gloom. "Damn tired," he muttered, standing up and moving the chair back to the table. He returned to bed, but a few minutes later, he heard another sound. A sliding motion. A soft click. He looked at the closet. The door opened slightly. It seemed as if someone had quietly left from inside. David felt a chill run down his spine. He stood up, went to the closet, and abruptly opened it. Empty shelves, evenly hanging hangers. But the air inside was warm, as if someone had just been standing there. He slammed the door shut and took a deep breath. "It's just fatigue," he repeated to himself, but his voice broke. He decided to wash up. He went into the bathroom, turned on the light. Something alien looked at him from the mirror. Not a reflection. Not him. Someone else. A person who looked like him, but not him. Eyes too dark, face too pale. A small, barely noticeable smile, which he did not have. The figure in the mirror raised a hand, but David did not move. His reflection waved at him, and the light went out. David froze in the darkness. His chest was tight with terror. A chill ran down his skin, but he could not move. The bathroom was tiny, and now that the light was out, it felt like the walls were closing in, squeezing him from all sides. But the worst thing was the mirror. He knew the reflection was still there, and it was looking at him. David swallowed hard, reached out, feeling for the switch. Click. The light flashed on. He'd not have time to breathe a sigh of relief, because he was no longer in the mirror. There is a different room now. Same hotel, same decor. But without him, only an empty bed, slightly billowing blankets, curtains fluttering in the wind. His reflection was gone. He staggered back, hit the wall. His fingers trembled, his breath hitched. No, this couldn't be. He rushed to the door, yanked on the handle. The door didn't open. He was locked. David pounded his fists on the wood. "Hey, someone, open up!" There was silence. The hotel was silent. He pressed his forehead against the door, breathing heavily. And then he heard a voice, quiet, whispering, from the mirror. He turned slowly. The reflection was now of the room again. There was someone sitting on the bed. Him looked straight at him. His copy smiled. "You're there now." David stepped back. "Oh, no." But the mirror was fading. The image was dissolving, and he realized that the room behind the glass was becoming real. He was on the other side now, and the man in the hotel room was no longer him. He wanted to scream, but his voice was gone. He no longer existed in this world. When the maid opened room 13 in the morning, it was empty. No sign of David. Only a mirror with a perfectly clean surface. And if you stare into it long enough, you can notice to see a shadow moving in the depths, waiting for the next guest.